fade anyway.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 1355. 1355. I'm Mike. I'm Mike Matthews. There's just no way to say Mike Matthews and sound cool. It's not like saying, I'm Bruce Willis. I'm Mike Matthews. And welcome to Mike's Daily Podcast. It's called
Mike's Daily Podcast.
It's a show name you can sing, and we're broadcasting from Castro Valley, Montana.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
The last place on earth. We'll hear from Floyd the Floorman and Shelly Shoehart. John Deere the engineer will stop by and tell us his heart is full of engineering things. And I think Mike Matthews has finished his musings, and
Mike's Daily Podcast.
We will also bring you the segment Wow Shuts Wow with some interesting news, and we will talk with Lady Katy.
Mike's
Yes,
Daily
she has not been on
Podcast
in a while, so
yeah,
we're gonna meet with her on top of a windy mountaintop in the Bay Area, in the East Bay. Windy. Everyone knows it's windy, and it's going to be very windy, so just prepare yourself. I actually couldn't play the entire interview because it was so windy, so we'll hear a little bit of that. Hey, you're taking my advice, and that's good. You're looking up, not down. Look who walked in.
Hello, my Matthews. It's Shelly Shoehart, good chef supervisor. What are you talking about?
Last show, I was saying how we should all look up instead of down.
Okay, that's helpful. Thanks.
Real talk, everyone. I'm going to start doing a money show because I work at a money station. Look who else walked in. And it's going to be called Mike's Daily Money Cast, huh?
That's a horrible idea.
It's a great idea. I know a lot about money. Let's see. There's ones. There's $5 bills and 10. Oh, money. Scary. Look who else walked in. Oh, Mike, this is Floyd the Floorman. And this is John Deere, the engineer. Mike, I think we should all go out to lunch today. That's a great idea. I didn't eat lunch till way late yesterday, and I got a nasty headache. Yeah, I feel better now, though. Thanks. Mike, that's really good. Yes, I'm going to take us all out to lunch. Mm-hmm. Thank you, John Deere.
And here's today's podcast picture.
I found a podcast picture of not yesterday, but in the previous days, there was a time that I took a picture from roughly the spot that Lady Katy and I speak at Fairmont Ridge. And you can see that picture now at MikesDailyPodcast.com, and also help out the show at MikesDailyPodcast.com. There's the Amazon link. Click on that at MikesDailyPodcast.com. And you can help out the show, whatever you're going to buy something on Amazon, because retail is going to crap, my friend. Retail's going down the crapper.
It makes me mildly nauseous.
Yes, that retail's going bye-bye. And you know what? It's retail's own fault. Because retail made the user experience so unfriendly. I'm going to tell you something right now. If you are unfriendly to me, for I am a user, if you are unfriendly, I'm going to be maddie at Yui. This is how it goes. So I will not go to the mall. That's not true, actually. I love going to the mall. I walk through the mall on my way to my weekend job when I take the BART. And do you know, I actually have a BART right here. That's how the BART sounds. The BART in the Bay Area sounds like that. I love when I go to the mall, I stop it quickly. Sometimes they're quick, sometimes they're not, but they're always friendly. And I get a Butterfinger milkshake. Yes, that sounds rather hideous, but it's so delicious.
It makes me mildly nauseous.
No, you have to try it. It's really good.
What
is the matter with you?
I love it. It's so tasty.
Something must be wrong with you.
The judging here. There's so much judgment on this show. Needs to stop.
You darn tootin'.
It's just out of control.
It's time to stop, okay?
Yeah.
No more.
All right. So what I think what John Deere was trying to tell us is he wants to take us out to lunch, which reminds me of the time that the last time I visited Ventura, California with my then wife. We were still married. The last time we went, she kind of did it as a birthday present to me. It was around my birthday. Went down there and visited with some friends, and there was a friend of mine that wanted to take us out to lunch at a very nice restaurant in Ventura in the downtown area. So we went, and we run into this guy named Dano, who is my ex-wife's dad's friend or some crap, and he invited himself to lunch with us. My friend had no idea who Dano was, but my friend is kind of rich, knows a thing or two about money, and he's paying for lunch. He ended up paying for Dano's lunch. Dano frickin' mooched off of my friend. And not only that, Dano talked the entire time. And he's one of these people that talks that you do not, after about 5 seconds, you're like, what? I'm done. You say,
no more.
Right.
It's time to stop.
So
okay?
that's right. Dano, oh, God. I still cannot believe that happened years ago, and I still remember that whenever Dano talked. I mean, a nice guy, but he's one of these people. Okay, here's what it is. That's a beautiful snoring sound. I could sleep next to that. Snoring, when Basil the Boxer snores, his snoring actually puts me to sleep. It's like white noise. Some people turn on the white noise, like the sound of wind blowing or birds. I don't know what white noise they use. Water running, fan. I know a lot of people that turn on fans. The sound of the low hum puts them to sleep. Basil's snoring puts me right to sleep. Isn't that sweet? But Dano would always talk about, he wouldn't talk about interesting things or life or what have you, or not looking down, look up, that kind of stuff. He would talk about all the things, all the little irons he had in the fire. I got this going on and that going on. He was a musician. And he could play the acoustic guitar very well. It's a good flamenco sort of guitar player. And he was always like, I got this, and I know that guy, and I met that guy, and I met that guy from Santana, and I met that guy and that guy. You know, who cares? All right, enough of my Dano bashing. Book him, Dano. And that's the only thing I had to say about that. But just don't do that. And don't let other people do it. And I blame myself. I should have told Dano to just go. So, hey, by the way, update about that wonderful chocolate lab that was basically pushing himself on Basil as we were trying to go on a walk last week. I was talking about this on the podcast, and this dog just showed up and kept basically dominating, humping Basil. And I had to keep pushing him off of Basil. Basil barked at him a couple of times, but I'm pushing him, and he's this big guy, and so we had to run home. And I threw my water bottle at him, and he finally took off. I'm like, if he's going to be hanging outside the front door of my house, that's it. So I threw a water bottle at him, and he went away. But I found out that the dog's name is Kona, and that apparently he got hit by a car one time. Not recently. It was a couple months back. Got hit by a car, and the dog was fine. Kona was fine, but the person that saw it knew the owner of Kona and went over and told them, and they were like, what? No, Kona never leaves the house. They're idiots, like I said in the show where I was first discussing this. So that's the Kona update. And now let's get to the segment Wow Shuts Wow. We have some interesting news to go to right here at this time.
Wow Shuts Wow.
God damn, he loves to hear himself talk.
By the way, also at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com, past podcast pictures, past interviews I've done, past shows. And you can help us out through the PayPal. You'll get to become an inglorious Mike's Daily Podcaster and get a special greeting from all the Cafe Anyway characters. there's a tweet war going on, and that's between Donald Trump and Hillary, and it happened last night. And Donald Trump said, "Crooked Hillary now blames everybody but herself, refuses to say she was a terrible candidate, hits Facebook and even Dems and DNC." To which Hillary responded. And she wrote the following: "People in covfefe houses shouldn't throw covfefe."
But I just want to set the record straight.
That was beautiful. Good job, Hillary. So that she's basically right. The whole covfefe thing. Listen to the last show if you've still not heard about that yet. The Democrats' post was retweeted nearly 28,000 times in less than half an hour, compared to just under 10,000 retweets from Trump, which is very odd, because usually those hard right, alt-right, Steve Bannon-esque Trump supporters just retweet the crap out of. And Clinton's supporters launched countless replies cheering her on. However, one reply in particular stood out, according to Mediaite. And that was from Calvin. Oh, it looked like they used So that definitely was a good response, and thank you, Mediaite. I've never heard of you before, but whatever. And then Trump also pulled us out of the Paris, or is in the process of pulling us out of the Paris deal, the climate change deal. Yes, he is a climate change denier, and he wants jobs and making America great again. So if we leave the Paris Agreement, it would leave the world superpower outside an accord meant to reduce greenhouse gas emissions that includes nearly every other country in the world except for Syria and Nicaragua. While it's not entirely clear that Trump has made up his mind, now, whoever wrote this is wrong. He's made up his mind. Even though Rex Tillerson has said, no, don't do this. Don't do it. Stay. You're going to tick off everybody. We got to make good with the world, not tick everybody off. Ticking them off, they'll get so ticked. Ticks are bad, okay? Trump has called the pact a bad deal for the U.S. At an April rally, he called the agreement one-sided. Given his past statements and promise, it isn't hard to see why Trump would want to pull the United States out of the deal. Yet the decision has provoked a furious internal battle within the White House, pitting Trump's family members like Ivanka, who wants to stay in, and Jared Kushner, her husband, against advisor Steve Bannon and EPA Administrator Steve Pruitt. Pulling the U.S. out of the deal means Trump is siding with Bannon and his base over the objections of centrists in the government. Even ExxonMobil Corporation and many large American businesses have urged Trump to stay in the deal, arguing it would maintain U.S. influence over future talks. Hey, there's a whole podcast about this on To The Point with Warren Olney. I love that podcast. I listen to it all the time. And their last one, they were discussing this. The Internal Renewable Energy Agency has estimated recently that the Paris Pact, would make the world $19 million richer, $19 trillion richer by 2050. And you know what they say about trillions?
Why make trillions when we could make billions?
So finally, let's get to the Apple. A delicious apple. Apple Ink is already in your pocket, on your desk, and underneath your television. Soon, a device embossed with "Designed by Apple in California" may be on your nightstand or kitchen counter. They are trying to make a Siri-controlled smart speaker. Yes, the device will differ from Amazon's Echo and Google's Google Home speakers by offering virtual surround sound technology and deep integration with Apple's product lineup, and introducing a speaker would serve two main purposes: providing a hub to automate appliances and lights via Apple's HomeKit system, and establishing a beachhead to lock customers more tightly into Apple's network of services. So Google doesn't really have a name for their responder. The Echo, who's Alexa? That's another thing. That's Apple, right? No, that's Amazon. I know, I got it all straight. So Apple has a name for theirs, Siri. Amazon has the Alexa, and Google just doesn't have a name. They just want you to say Google constantly, which you already do because you use it as a verb and in place of saying to search for. And then finally, the Beatles. Today was the day. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. That's so not how they sounded, but yes, that was the big album. If you don't know how big that album is, sing a song right now. That song came from that album. You're welcome. The Beatles, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club was turned into a horrible, horrible movie that had Aerosmith and Peter Frampton singing songs from that, Alice Cooper. Because the world is round, it makes me want to cry. All those great songs are on this album. Damn. Came out today. 50 frickin' years ago, my friend. That means I was born the next year, and I'll be 50 frickin' years old next year. But not till the end of the year, so thank you. Thank you, Beatles. Thank you, Paul. Ringo, you're still alive. And off in the heavens, John, George. And the other George, I was talking about George Harrison, and then George Martin, who produced the album. Go listen to some today. And of course, they're trying to cash in on it with a big remastering of the album. You can spend hundreds on it. Hey, let's get to another segment because we haven't done enough segments on today's podcast. And we go to a windy mountaintop and discuss things Bay Area related with the lovely Katy.
Holding court with Lady Katy. Lady Katy.
We're back with Lady Katy here at Fairmont Ridge. We haven't done this in a year.
At this spot?
Well, we've never done it at this spot.
Well, we did up there, remember?
Just over there.
Yeah, in the little grove up there.
Right, and you made some Lord of the Rings reference. I had no idea what you were saying.
Oh, yeah. All right, was it Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter? Or Star Wars? No, whatever.
You're such a nerd. What's going on? When did we last talk?
You mean the last time we talked on the podcast?
Yeah.
Kind of recently. Remember we were talking about... remember, actually, you cut out the part with the compliments. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
I listened back to the episode and I heard your editing job.
She's giving me this smile like, I know what you're doing, Mike. Chopping out compliments.
Yeah. I wanted those compliments on record.
You'll have to remind me what they were. Just kidding. We're sitting here looking at a beautiful view of the San Francisco being enveloped by fog as we are still in sunshine here in Castro Valley.
Yeah, it's really pretty over there, and it's one of those days that it's not hazy. It's very crisp and clear. And you see all those barges out on the water.
Whoa. I never noticed those before. I look out at that view all the time, and where do you think they're going, Katy?
Looks like they're coming in. Do you think they're coming in or going out? That's one interesting thing. The whole shipping world, the system of shipping ships and trains and trucks, and that is a mysterious world. Who knows the complicated logistics between all of that and the people that are out there manning those systems on the ships and trains and everything.
Do you think you could do that?
Do you think I could do that?
I think you could be a captain of a ship. Say, do you like the ocean?
Nope. I hate the ocean.
Really? What? Do you like to go to the beach?
Nope. I don't like the beach. My roommate and I were talking about this. She is funny. She says she doesn't like to go to the beach before 4 p.m. And I'm sort of similar. I like the beach if we're, around a bonfire and cooking food. I really like that. And actually, I like to be at the beach in a tropical place, reading and getting some sun. And then at the end of the day, it's like your body feels like hot because it's warm. It's like you've absorbed all those UV rays.
But your skin is so white and translucent, and it shouldn't be touched by sun. You should remain this white, glowing figure that everyone should, stand back and go, "Oh, Katy, make way."
I do agree. I don't disagree. No, my skin has not seen the sun in years. When you're young, I was out tanning every summer. Oh,
Basil's singing to you and your translucent skin.
But somewhere along the way, I started to get some skin damage on my face, and so I stopped spending so much time in the sun. And then after a while, I don't even do it at all anymore. I don't have tan lines. I just am not in the sun at all.
I have to spray my head constantly when I go out. I sprayed it today, even though I got out here and I'm probably going to wear a hat because it's kind of chilly. But, that's Californians, what we got to deal with, all the sun. But where would you move if you weren't in California, Katy? Or Katy-fornia. Katy-fornia.
Let's rename it. I'm going to petition. Rename it. I think I would live somewhere completely different, like another country somewhere. Not really another place in the U.S. I love the Bay Area. If I were wanting a change of scene, I would go completely different.
Europe?
Yeah, like Europe. I even think like Central America would be beautiful. A simple place,
Have you been to Central America?
Yeah, I've been to Costa Rica. Been to Mexico. Been to maybe that's it.
What part of Mexico did you go? Like deep into the jungles? Where are there jungles in Mexico? I live right next to Mexico, and I don't know what's there. I've been to Tijuana, like every white boy in California.
I have been. I think. So the first time I went was on a church trip, and we went down to kind of villages, I truthfully don't know how deep we went in. I know we were in a rural place. We were not in the city. We were out with people kind of in the country, but it could have been, 20 miles outside the city, or it could have been 100. I don't know. Okay. And yeah, it was nice. And then I went back to Mexico on a vacation, more in the sense that a lot of people go with the beach and everything, and that was beautiful, but the week that I was there, it happened to be really cold, so I didn't really get to enjoy the kind of the feel of being in a warm place. It was still great, it was beautiful, but we were doing like the snorkeling and all that, and it was cold outside.
Have you been to Hawaii?
I have. I love Hawaii. Have you been?
Oh, here comes more dogs.
Should we pause it?
Yeah, let me pause it.
Molly, come.
All right, so we survived that.
Barely.
All these ordeals.
Yeah.
You ever get the feeling, Katy, there's like nowhere to run in the Bay Area? There's always people. You have to really like people to live here.
What's a place that you know of that's very secluded, like where you feel like I probably won't see anyone?
Ooh, that's a good question. Because even in Alabama, there was still people.
Would you say Castro Valley Safeway?
There's all these people at Castro Valley Safeway.
You can. It's a proven fact that if you're from the Bay Area and you go to the Castro Valley Safeway, you will see people that you know. Actually, maybe now it's Trader Joe's. I think now it used to be Castro Valley Safeway. I would every single time see someone I knew. Now it's more Trader Joe's, I think.
I guess parts of San Francisco people can be kind of mean.
I think it's that and over on the Peninsula.
Oh yeah. What is up with that Peninsula attitude? They're rich, and so they kind of lose touch with reality.
I saw, Tacubaya at 4th Street in Berkeley. It's a really, really good Mexican restaurant.
No.
Oh, man. It's so good. Highly recommend it.
What?
It's delicious. Great, great, great tacos. Really sweet little spot. And I was with my friend Dominique the other day, and she and I were shopping around. We sat down there for lunch, and we're waiting for our food, and she and I are engaged in conversation with each other, and then at the table next to us, one of the runners comes out and brings dishes to the table next to us. It's a family. And the teenage daughter, I guess, she got something in front of her, and the mom was like, "What is this?" to the waiter or to the runner. He said, "Oh, that's blah blah blah." She said, "We ordered a quesadilla." And Dominique and I both stopped, and our eyes got big, and we were like, "Oh no!" And this lady was so rude. It was multifaceted. She was so rude. She couldn't pronounce quesadilla, and which probably isn't even an authentic dish, a quesadilla. But nonetheless, she couldn't say quesadilla, and she was yelling at the runner who didn't even take our order. It's a place where you order at the register.
As we go outside a cafe anyway, we're bringing Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcaster Valley because we were back at the cafe anyway, and we were applauding Katy. Thank you, Katy. You're welcome back anytime. Preferably we'll be in a not-so-windy location. We had more to that interview, but it was just so windy. We just couldn't air it. So, and by airing it, I meant posting it, because this is a podcast and it's not actually on the radio. Although it could be, right? I mean, really? Couldn't this be? No. Next show, it's going to be Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, and the Brewmaster. Enjoy your day, because everybody knows it's windy. Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Yacht.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. Email Mike now at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!